You are listening to the Get That Out of Your Mouth podcast.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Get That Out of Your Mouth podcast. My name is Todd, and with me as always are the Donald and Goofy to my Mickey Mouse, Dave and Jerry. Welcome.
You missed the perfect opportunity to do the Donald and Goofy to your Sora, and I'm so mad.
Kingdom Hearts reference for those of us that are gamers.
That would have been great, especially considering last week's episode.
Welcome, gentlemen. How are we doing today?
Not too bad.
So I guess that makes me the Pluto.
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah. Okay.
So for those that are
Bark.
listening, my brother Steve, or Pluto, as it were, is joining us this week.
Okay, he called himself Pluto, so I mean, it's almost fair.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm not taking it as an insult. Pluto's awesome.
Steven needs to just be aware that he's the bitch. So.
Well, damn, that hurt.
Why you gotta be mean to your brother?
And
right
Pluto was not a female.
No, but look at it this way. Goofy was a dog, and Goofy could talk. Goofy could have a job. Why couldn't Pluto?
Because Pluto couldn't talk.
Pluto was the bitch. Pluto.
Maybe he was the special one.
Pluto is the only. Pluto was the
podcast.
only animal in the Disney, in that era of Disney, in that Disney, that group of Disney characters that was a pet.
There was a
cow.
cow that took care of other cows.
But what I'm saying,
Bell cow.
yes.
But what I'm saying is, Pluto was the only one that was an actual pet. All the others were essentially people that were animals.
I mean, he came before Goofy, so...
I'm sure he came before Goofy, but Goofy was still, having fun.
Pluto was originally the dog.
Nobody else picked up on my joke.
I know what you
Yeah,
said. And
I'm ignoring it.
Pluto was originally Mickey's
Bitch.
pet, yeah.
Bitch.
And then Goofy came out later. Anyway.
I'm just saying.
What is up with you and talking about Pluto being a bitch?
I never
Just trying
said
to start
a
fights, man.
bitch. He is the bitch. There's a difference.
So, in a roundabout way, this is just my brother insulting me.
In a roundabout way, this is me trying
Stop
to...
insulting your brother. He was nice enough to come on this week's episode.
In a roundabout way, this is me trying to introduce today's topic, which is cartoons.
A very interesting way
I think
to do
we
it.
need to take a break and talk about your deep-seated hatred for your brother. That was the wrong button.
No, it wasn't.
There we go. So, what was your favorite cartoon growing up?
So I had a lot of favorite cartoons. If I had to really sit back, it all depended on the age, obviously, that I was. Looking at Real Ghostbusters, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, those were my favorites when I was really little. As I got a little bit older, Rugrats, Doug, Hey Arnold was a favorite. Rocket Power was a favorite. Like all those Nickelodeon shows that had real people and they looked like real people.
I've never met anybody with a football head.
You obviously haven't sold mattresses before. I've seen all kinds of people. I've seen all kinds of people. Football heads, volleyball heads, fucking Easter Island heads. Seen it all.
One head to rule them all.
Well, damn.
Yes, mine. The mushroom head. Anyway.
One head to bind them. And in the dark.
Speaking of Ninja Turtles, I'm kind of disappointed that you didn't do a Ninja Turtles reference for this week's introduction.
Well, because you're not a regular on here, and the 4 Ninja Turtles are regulars, and
There was once 5 Ninja Turtles.
there was.
We don't
but-
talk about her.
Well, we're not yelling. Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
Anyway.
I don't like that one.
So you guys asked the question. I gave my answer. Jerry?
Okay. I would have to say, like, when I was very young, I didn't have cable because I would bounce back and forth between New Jersey and PA for a while. I would have to say it would probably be Shaolin Showdown, if anybody's ever heard of that.
Interesting.
Oh, I love that.
Shaolin Showdown. I remember that. The
I love that.
the monk,
show.
the monk kid, the cowboy. What was the other two?
A cowboy,
The Latino hothead and the trendy, I think Chinese girl or Japanese girl.
of Asian descent.
Yeah,
from what it
Asian
looked
girl.
Like. I don't know what.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's considered racist or not, but I'm just remembering from the whole thing.
No, she
Yeah.
was Asian.
Who-
That's not racist.
Who
It's a
every single
general
episode,
blanket term.
almost every
I mean,
scene.
the main character had jaundice.
Well, damn.
Okay.
I mean, come on. If I pull up a picture, you can tell who's the main character because you have a Western, you have a
Latino.
a Latino, and then you have a female, and then you have the jaundice. Like it's bright, like
Yellow.
almost that cup yellow.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Like
it ended
lemon
with
yellow.
him not even being the central character.
Yeah, well, that's very true.
The Latino ended up being the central character.
Oh, it didn't end there.
I don't like to talk about Chronicles. It was a
Nobody likes to
terrible
talk
one.
about Chronicles, just like how nobody likes to talk about Code Lyoko.
Oh, Code Lyoko, don't even start.
Code
That was a
Lyoko.
great show.
Was the best. I'm sorry, I'm changing my answer. I know we just talked about a kid having jaundice, which is terrible, but
All
Code
right then.
Lyoko was the best foreign kid show on Cartoon Network for the longest time.
Can we just first quickly go back? The kid had jaundice. It was such a good show. Okay.
Look, that's it. I'm pulling up a picture.
I don't need to see a picture.
Think of
just for you.
Simpsons. All right,
Think
he
of
was
Simpsons
that-
yellow.
He was
Okay.
a random Simpsons character.
Pretty
Okay.
much.
Look, I believe you. I don't
I
recall
mean,
the show. It's not
think
something
we're all-
that I
think
watched.
they're-
But
I think Jerry's also being racist because the kid's Chinese.
Was not me being racist. That was me pointing out that the show was pretty racist.
Stephen, can you please not start a race riot on the podcast?
No promises.
I will toss
Anyway.
my shoe at you.
Dave,
Damn.
what was your favorite cartoon shows growing up?
I would say my top favorite was Beast Wars to start.
Okay.
I remember back in the days of VHS
The days.
like having.
dark
I
days.
remember.
Be
recording-
kind, rewind.
Yeah, exactly. I remember like recording all.
Real
the
quick,
episodes.
for those who don't know what rewind means, look it up on YouTube. That's all I'm going to
Did you really
say.
just say that?
Yes,
Well,
yes, I
hold
did.
on.
Like you went through
Rewind-
that build up and you won't even fucking explain it.
So rewinding, I was getting
Rewinding
there.
is still a thing now. It's just different
Rewinding
time.
a VHS tape was about the size of a brick, and if you
Not
hit your
wrong.
brother with it, it hurt the same as a brick, right, Steve?
Not as badly.
Not as bad. He's been hit by bricks too.
Yeah.
Anyway, don't
That
ask
brings up
questions.
More questions.
So
Bad
but-
brother.
I don't know what you're
It
talking
wasn't by
about.
him.
No, it was
you
by our
see that-
sister.
It was.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Don't blame everything on Todd. We have another sibling.
I
Next-
still hold.
next
I still hold
episode,
my
therapy session.
next week's episode. It's Steve's therapy session. Also, slight Todd torture.
That's fine.
The following week, Todd's therapy session.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm perfectly fine.
He's saying as he's twitching.
Crap, boobs, crap, hell, damn, fart. Anyway,
Another solid. Like I just remember
wait, I wasn't done explaining what rewinding is.
VHS. Sorry.
Rewinding. So when you get to the end of a tape, or even the middle of a tape, or anywhere in the tape, if you wanted to go back and see something, much like you have on your DVR now, when you rewind, Gesundheit.
Thank you.
Gesundheit.
So there was a button. It was two arrows that pointed in the left direction to go backwards. You would press that, and then everybody would be moving backwards, and it was kind of funny. Yes, that is
Yeah.
my way of explaining rewinding.
Essentially, you couldn't just start it from the beginning like you
had to
can now.
rewind it
Right,
first.
exactly.
You actually had to rewind the film.
Right, you had to rewind the tape in order to start from the beginning.
And a lot of times when we would
And
go to said store to rent, because that was a thing, we go to a
Blockbuster.
store to rent such
Blockbuster.
devices.
Blockbuster.
They would the phrase was "be kind, rewind," because most of the times, the employees were going to have to do that themselves.
Because asshole people that rented did not rewind like they were supposed to.
I was 6 years old. I didn't know what even the play button did.
You bastard.
Anyway,
Well, at that point, you
Beast
blame the
Wars.
parents.
So Dave says Beast Wars. Okay.
for those that aren't familiar, Beast Wars was the continuation of the Transformers franchise. So it had an Optimus Prime.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Optimus Prime.
I mean, y'all have seen Transformers, right?
Yes.
Like, so,
Yeah.
but it's
Optimus
and-
Prime.
Megatron, but instead of
am Megatron.
okay,
That sounded like Waspinator.
it sure did.
Shut up. Anyway.
Waspinator. Terrorize.
That was actually really
That
good.
was really good.
Thank you.
yes.
Basically it was like instead of vehicles and such, they all had animal forms.
So they all committed bestiality.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Why did you have to take
but-
it there? You
Steven,
dirty,
what was your
dirty bastard.
favorite cartoon growing up?
It's
Well,
Let it go. Let it go. Let it go.
Don't. Why do you have to bring that song into this?
can't hold it back anymore.
so both shows that they said,
Okay.
and along with
So, for
This is
those
gonna
that don't know,
be-
Steven still watches cartoons.
not
So do
really
I.
anymore,
So does
no.
Jerry.
I
So
do
does
not
Dave.
I do not still watch cartoons. I
Anime
watch
is not
old
cartoons, sir.
cartoons.
Yes, it is.
It's cartoons from Japan.
I'm
But-
going to just leave it
They're
alone.
for
But-
everyone.
Man, I still watch The Amazing World of Gumball, motherfucker.
That is sad.
I like The Amazing World of Gumball.
I've seen it too.
I know
I'm
Gumby.
Wow, you went really old.
Gumby.
You went way
So-
you went to the Wayback Machine.
I'm just gonna
You should
wait.
Not have gone that
Well,
far.
yeah, the Wayback Machine with Peabody and Sherman. That goes even further.
I was
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about the website.
Oh. I was just talking about Peabody and Sherman. That's even further. That's Rocky and Bullwinkle shit right there.
Flintstones, meet the
not.
Flintstones.
So, let me think.
Meet George
there's-
Jetson.
There is way too many.
Daughter Judy.
I'm gonna throw something at you, man.
Jane, his wife. Continue.
His boy Elroy.
Okay, now you did that one.
You
Yes,
did.
I did.
You did.
I had to finish it, okay?
Continue.
So, oh no, now I'm waiting.
I didn't
No.
say anything.
I'm waiting. You said you're trying to tell us what your favorite was.
There's
Dexter's Laboratory.
Dexter's Lab, absolutely.
I still remember my favorite episode of that. By the way, not to cut you off, like
The
entirely,
laboratory.
was the mech one where he goes to
Which
the-
one?
where he goes to class and there's two other kids that have mechs.
Again, which one?
Wait, are you
Like
talking
half
about
the
like
show was a mech battle. Are
the
you
Star,
kidding me?
like with the Star Spangled Man action figures, and he's trying to impress them?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Where like it's like they have the action figures, and he designs his own, and they're like, well, now we don't
the
have
Asian
cool
kids.
ones.
Yes, the
right.
Asian
When he
kids.
was in Japan.
Yeah, where he
Yeah.
Oh, that
Japan,
one.
Yeah,
Okay, that's a different one
And-
that I was thinking.
and then like
A lot of
They-
references
they
to
have-
Asians in this episode.
Well,
Anyway,
we're not racist. I'm not racist.
Rugrats.
Rugrats was a solid.
Rugrats was the
Pokemon.
shit.
I like Pokemon.
okay.
Still kind of do.
I still play Pokemon.
I'm not gonna go into anime because that's a whole nother
So-
story.
I'm going to cut you off because you've already named like 7. So, one of the things that we wanted to talk about on today's podcast is basically a comparison.
Flintstones
Okay.
kids.
Steven is now being muted for the remainder. So we want to talk about a comparison between what we grew up with versus what's on TV today. Now, I personally I'm not familiar with the cartoon shows that are on TV today. I'll be very honest. Being 34 years old, I'm not watching cartoons, obviously.
And that's your mistake.
Right. But I will say that in looking at it, what we grew up with just seems almost more mature than what kids today look at. And I base it solely on the idea. Okay, and I'm going to give a comparison right now. And I know you guys might not be overly thrilled with this comparison. But
Here we go.
What?
Go on.
Go on.
So you look at the original cartoon of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, okay?
Okay.
So back the one from the 90s, okay? Yes, it's a cartoon. Like, it didn't look so campy, for lack of a better word. It didn't look so like choppy and, if you look at the remake, the one that was on Nickelodeon a few years ago,
You mean like they don't use as much cuts?
It's not so much that, but like the turtles in the new one, as far as I saw, were like squared. Like their entire body was made up of squares and rectangles just put together to form a body.
Okay.
I mean, are you talking about the 3D one?
I don't know. I'm talking about the one that was on Nickelodeon.
Well, there's been
There's been like
ones.
3 or 4
You know
different
what?
iterations of it.
So the current one, the most recent one, The Rise of Ninja Turtles, was terrible.
It wasn't great. Yeah.
The one that preceded it,
The one with the 3D one,
that
that wasn't bad.
That was so much better than the first cartoon, which, as much as I love that cartoon, I will say that you're wrong. It was extremely campy.
The other aspect of it is
it never took itself seriously.
It was designed not to. That was the whole thing. The cartoon was designed to not take itself seriously. There was too many. It was supposed to be that way, and it was supposed to be somewhat campy. You would think, as the time goes on, like it should be less and less campy, but they made it. They basically they tore it down, and like I said, the animation itself was so bad.
So the cartoon from 2003 was extremely dark. It was much more closer to the comics.
Keep talking. I want to pull up what I'm talking about.
And then the 2015, I think it was in. 2015
Wait,
cartoon.
2003. Are you talking about TMNT?
Yes.
Yeah, TMNT did get pretty dark, huh?
Yeah, that was extremely serious.
Until they went to the future.
Yeah, I didn't watch that area. No, that wasn't until the Nickelodeon one. They went into space. But
so this is the one. Hold on, let me.
But the one that followed TMNT.
This is the one I'm talking about.
First one that was on Nickelodeon. Yeah, see, that one was a good one.
But that one, like, they just looked like somebody took a bunch of squares and made it into bodies.
You gotta think about it.
Computer generated.
That's
computer generated.
That's the art style.
That's something I don't like it. Man, that's me. To each their own. I personally think
they were designed to look younger, from what I know.
And they were extremely different personalities. Like the personalities were ramped up to 11, and they were wonderful.
So I personally think
I really like.
Okay, so here we go. This is okay. So looking at these pictures, so here's a direct comparison of Ninja Turtles. Okay?
By the way, they did actually interact with the original cartoon eventually.
So there's a direct comparison of Ninja Turtles. Okay? The first one and the second one. The second one I can agree with.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can't see that from here. Yeah, TMNT was good.
I was going to hand it.
A loud one.
That's fine. Yeah. So
Okay, so
I like this iteration right there.
Yeah, the first one iconic. The second one more aligned to what I would thinking like a person turtle would be.
and I can see that. I can see that.
Also more following the comics, which was extremely
again,
dark.
that I can
But
understand.
that last one's god.
Right,
awful.
the last two are god awful. They're so like it basically the way I view it, it insults the intelligence of the viewer. Like it basically says you're a
Does it,
child.
though?
I believe it does. I believe looking at it,
The third
it
one,
insults the intelligence because it basically says you're a child. You don't know any better anyway. What the fuck's the difference?
they had to dumb it down.
Which I have
And
a problem
they,
with.
and
Yes,
they,
which you're allowed to, but it's like you got to think this is meant for a much younger audience that may or may
The
not.
audience changes
had-
over time.
and
But the
I'm,
audience is the same age.
I'm actually
Same
going
age,
to say
different generations.
I understand that, and this generation, while there's less, we're going to get into a whole new topic that I'm not trying to get into. But-
you're definitely trying.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Hold on.
Hardly disagree with you.
So, I mean, you guys may disagree with me, and like I said, this was just a topic, or this
Hey,
was
Todd,
just an example.
Let's chop it up as it is just entertainment.
I understand that.
it is past your time.
I
previously,
understand that, but
It's not the same.
but
entertainment value.
making that comment basically makes this entire topic null and void. And,
Yeah.
and and I disagree with that idea of it's just entertainment because
It's
no,
no different than
but if you
movies.
look at some of the no, that's another day. That is a whole nother day because there's some movies that should have never been remade. We're
I
gonna get
agree.
into that another day. But there are also some movies that the remake is actually way better. Another day, another topic.
yeah.
That is something. Put that in the back of your minds.
Now I'm gonna speak from the other end of the spectrum.
I'm
Okay.
going to be following along.
The cartoons have come a long way. Well, yes, most of them sort of feel like they recycle not only the same art style, but sort of it's extremely dumbed down to what we were used to when we were kids. Some of them have actually pushed the boundaries on what you would expect a children's show to have.
Oh yeah.
My biggest example of this, and I might catch some flack for it, but Steven Universe.
Yes.
Steven Universe pushed the boundaries of what you would expect a kid show in the 2014 to 2019 era.
Yeah.
It did use the same kind of art styles. Not saying that they're perfect, because they're not. They had problems.
And I think my issue, and I don't mean to cut you off, but my issue comes down to the art style. I think.
You can't here's the thing, you can't just look at it through the art style. You got to look at it through the storytelling, through the technique.
and the content.
See, that's the thing. Like, I'm not overly familiar with the content. I'm basing a lot of it on the art style. You look at.
I'm surprised you didn't watch anything beforehand.
Yeah, I don't do that.
You should have done that.
Yeah.
I don't do
We would've
research.
had- we could've
Because
had
then
better-
you would have
Bad
been
Todd,
putting
not
your
doing
foot.
your
Yeah.
homework.
I
you
don't
would've
do
been-
research. Suck it. I don't care.
You would have been like shoving your foot in your mouth right now.
No.
He's shoving his thumb up his bunghole.
Mm.
I like I look at it as the art style, and I'm going to say the art style that we grew up with, and when I say that I mean like Doug and
They
Rugrats.
weren't afraid to branch out, to try something new.
Right, but I then also maintain the art style in the cartoons before us, like the Flintstones, the Jetsons, Top Cat, or Tomcat.
Tom and Jerry.
Tomcat. I was right.
Tomcat, you were
Right,
right, yeah.
Tom and Jerry. The Looney Tunes. That art style was significantly better than what I grew up with.
Eh.
I maintain that the art style has actually de-evolved and has actually gone down in quality over the years. Now, and I believe a big part of that is because of the major introduction of CGI. I believe computers have added a lot to making cartoons, and I believe in doing so, it takes away some of the
artistic
artist
aspects.
right.
Okay.
You know, there's a lot more older cartoons. And when I say older, I mean what I grew up with, what my parents watched when they were younger, what my sister watched, from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. Right. But it was artistic, because you had, Mike sitting behind a desk, drawing Fred Flintstone 45 times for 8 straight hours. And he would sit there and, painstakingly draw every single person in every single scene. And I feel like there was more detail and more emotion went into making those cartoons than they have now, which is, looking at the animation, there's not as much personal, like you could see the person in Hanna-Barbera cartoons. I maintain that, and I stand by that statement.
You see, I understand with what you're saying, but I'm sort of on the opposite end of that.
Yeah.
Art style doesn't.
Yeah.
But not only does art, like, I think your art style doesn't.
It does make a difference, but it doesn't make the show.
Exactly. Technology, now, while technology is a crutch, like it
and
is.
I think with the technology, it's a matter of what would have taken months and months can be recycled based off of the similar actions in CGI.
I totally get that.
And it makes it so much easier and quicker that you can get content.
Believe me, I totally get that, and I appreciate that. Because it's like that for everything. Technology is wonderful in that regard, but I believe it's not.
It doesn't take away an artist that works like a wood artist. You can tell the difference between something that's handcrafted and something that is
right. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
yeah,
right.
I understand where you're
coming from. So I'm sorry, Jared. We talk about, and you guys will understand this better than Steven. We sell beds. Mm-hmm. How often do we use the line and explain to people in order to express the quality? This bed is handmade. Mm-hmm. This is hand sewn. This is hand done versus the bed that's thrown together by machines.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, there is more to something, and this is realistically anything. There's more to it, and I personally feel that there's a certain amount of quality that comes from something being done by hand versus something being done by the computer. Now, the content and the voices and everything like that, that's not going. That's going to be the same. That's writers. That's actors. The Simpsons has gotten by for years with the same exact animation. Mm-hmm. There's your example
but they've also evolved with it.
It's different. Hold on. That is extraordinarily different. The Simpsons the art style changed from seasons 1 and 2 to now. That's it. But the art style has remained the same from season 3. It's like 3 or 4 until now, so it's not as choppy. But the art, that's your idea.
The design hasn't changed.
Right,
either,
the design hasn't changed, and that's why a cartoon like The Simpsons or Family Guy are so iconic, because they supersede time. Mm-hmm. They are timeless because the quality of the artwork has been recycled through computers, but it stems from
the same art style.
Same art style from an artist. Jerry, you want to throw something at me right now? Continue.
So do I.
You sort of taken over on this.
No, go ahead. I will step back, please.
I'm ready to throw something at you also.
Go ahead.
Essentially, what I'm trying to get at is technology has advanced to a point where some artists that would not be able to tell the story that they want to tell can do so. Yes, a bit of it is kind of dull and dreary, but if you look at if you look at the small amounts of the little details and certain things that you watch, like I won't lie, I have vegged out and I've binge watched episodes of The Amazing World of Gumball. It's not a bad show. It's not. Is it completely mindless? Yeah, yes, basically, it absolutely is.
That was something that I was going to bring up, is the aspect of there was a message with a lot of the episodes and a lot of different things. Like, look at Gargoyles, right?
Yeah.
Like, the aspect of looking at things differently based off of, just, like, again, like, how people look is not a reflection of who they are as people, right? Like, that was, like, the big message with a lot of that stuff from the 90s. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Gargoyles, those are the big ones that come to my mind. X-Men.
Yeah.
And that was another one, right? Like, there was, like, a clear, concise message that was getting out there to young kids. Like, and I don't, like, when I look at cartoons, like, Amazing World of Gumball, like, I'm kind of disappointed in the lack of message.
The thing that I think everybody forgets to mention is there doesn't always have to be a message.
That I agree with.
This is a children's television show. Now, yes, a lot of shows should have some kind of overarching theme, and to some points, Gumball has that. You have to watch it. You actually have to earnestly watch it to get some of it.
So I tend to disagree, and here's why.
I'm still just waiting to explode.
Okay. Sorry, Steven. I'm gonna finish my thought.
Go ahead.
And then you're good to get to
dance, puppets, dance. No, I'm playing.
So
You want to see a dance?
I think we're at a point where, like, most parents do a lot of working, so there's less ability to teach those life lessons. So I think having it done through television is a solid source of that content, like treating everyone fairly, like not judging people by the way they look.
I mean, that's always been part of television.
But I don't see it
live
anymore.
action and cartoons.
I don't tend to see it anymore. At
I
least
have.
at least not to the same extent.
I can count almost on both of my hands the amount of Gumball episodes that have actually tackled that kind of thing.
Episodes. But is it like
not everything has to have a point.
I don't like that.
I'm not saying you have to like it. Nobody's saying you have to like it. It's the same reason why Todd's been talking all this time. We don't have to agree with Todd.
But it also
everything has to have a rhyme.
It goes
or
back
reason.
to the statement that you made. It's entertainment. So while not everything has to be, so you have to have those serious messages, those episodes that are tackling the drug use or sexuality or whatever it is that may be.
But those are also what made like stuff like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air so iconic.
It's different. That's not a cartoon.
I know it's not a cartoon.
Okay.
But they also had the funny episodes.
Can you tell me one life lesson that Ren and Stimpy taught you?
Oh, okay.
Oh, he's got you in a box.
One life lesson that Rocco's Modern Life taught you? Okay,
Don't fuck your neighbor.
I can come up with one that they taught you. But
Ren and Stimpy's a good one.
Offhand, I can actually come up with a good life lesson that Rocco's Modern Life taught me.
What's a life lesson in Mr. Meaty?
I'm not even familiar with that one.
All God's creatures, fresh off the grill. So come on down to Mr. Meaty, where friends meet to eat meat. No.
No.
Nothing.
You lost me too.
I know that, but I never watched it. I prefer never to watch it.
But can you tell me one life lesson that Ren and Stimpy taught you? Can you tell me a life lesson that Beavis and Butthead taught you?
Happy,
didn't
happy,
watch
joy,
those.
joy.
Okay. But I will absolutely tell you that there was not any real life lesson in Ren and Stimpy. And it was probably one of, if not the most iconic cartoons of the 90s, to the point that it crossed generations. It was watched by children, teenagers, people in their 20s, up to adults. It was a cross-generational cartoon, and it taught absolutely nothing. It was a cat and a chihuahua that lived together, and the chihuahua beat the shit out of the cat.
Give me one life lesson you learned from Tom and Jerry.
There's
wait.
a few
Don't-
there.
Don't fuck with a little guy.
Billy, your balls hurt.
Depression is a thing.
Before seeking
God.
revenge, check your surroundings.
Yeah.
No.
Never,
Anyway.
never hit the ass of the woman that feeds you food.
But, to Jerry and Steven's
Actions
point,
have consequences.
not
Ooh.
every cartoon has to have a point to it. Not every cartoon has to have a message to it. There are some that do. I think back to, Doug. And I keep referencing Doug because I believe Doug is one of, not the best, but one of the best.
Patty mayonnaise.
Yes.
I can't help it.
It is one of the best cartoons. And, Doug is something that always had a message in every single episode. Whether it was outwardly voiced or not, you had Doug being a kid in a town that he is new in, and everybody in that town was different. There were blue people, there were purple people, there were green people, there were black people, there were Asian people, there were white people, there were tan people, there were Hispanic people. There was everyone. It absolutely...
Even Doug's family was different colors.
Right. The biggest point of that show was acceptance of everybody. Inclusivity. Thank you. So, but not everything has to have that.
And can we also just, a quick aside, his best friend's name was Skeeter.
What's the
Hey
point
man,
here?
what he does in the privacy of his own home is his own business.
Thank you for catching that, Jerry.
I picked up on what you said.
It's a wonderful thing.
I was trying to
love it.
go even deeper down the rabbit hole of that level of joke. I need to stop.
I'm not
It's gonna go dark.
I'm
Anyway.
not judging it. I think it's wonderful. It's even better now.
Just so we're clear, his name was Mosquito.
Still wonderfully funny.
Just saying. But to combat Dave, not everything has to have
Not
a
everything.
point. Now there
I
are
am one of the most chaotic people I know. I don't have a point.
Yeah.
well, it's because
So-
you're useless.
So to my
Oh.
Talking from the master
explosion.
himself.
Absolutely.
Going on now
Can't even
to
help me fix a fucking
to my
printer.
rant.
Nope.
I will highly disagree with Todd's original point
Nobody cares.
about the art style. The art style, in my opinion, may seem a lot more cartoony, but it has indeed gotten better. And I look at it as, from a technological standpoint, that, back when Flintstones was drawn and Jetsons, all they had was 2D art. Somebody drawing on a paper.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have three-dimensional artwork being done on the screen, where an artist can fully rotate a character model and add every single little detail that they want to their character.
Has he been talking to me this entire time?
Yeah.
I totally zoned out. I was texting Ben.
Oh,
But
fuck
Get
you!
off your phone.
Oh,
Go
dude,
ahead.
screw you!
No,
I wasn't vegging out when you were being wrong.
I was responding to Ben. I had to drop something off after this. But I heard you. There's 3D, technology has given the accessibility and the capability of people, to do
better...
more and make cartoons more advanced. I get that.
So
I get that, and I get Jerry's point. Hold on. I see what you're saying, and Jerry, I saw what you're saying. It creates an opportunity for people that may not have the physical drawing ability to create cartoons. I agree with you. I absolutely do, and I'm not saying that there is not a place for those cartoons and for that type of art. I in no way am I saying that those do not have a place and they should not exist. Because while I grew up with Doug and Rugrats, I also then grew up with Ren and Stimpy. Ren and Stimpy was horrible art.
Ren and Stimpy had good art.
It was not good.
It was different.
It was what it was supposed to be.
It was different.
But we also grew up with Beavis and Butthead, which was horrible art.
God, yeah.
Also, we grew up with South Park, which is its own art form, yes. But
actually, count that as a cartoon, would you?
I mean,
it is. It's a cartoon.
It definitely
it's a cartoon.
is.
It's an adult cartoon.
No, like it's a cartoon. Something on your arm.
Jerry's touching Dave.
Okay,
Anyway.
overall, I think
as I was trying to say, South Park was originally done through cutouts,
Right.
and then ever since the first few episodes, it's been computer generated the entire time.
I know.
But
And,
still
you
in
can
that
see
same
the
cutout
art
style.
change,
And
but it still remained the same technique.
I don't believe that those should not exist. I am, like you guys said, to each their own. I have nothing truly against those existing. I just maintain that the stuff that it was hand drawn when I was younger, when my parents watched cartoons, you look at what's the Secret Squirrel.
Yeah.
What's better than Super Secret Squirrel? Like, come on.
Not familiar.
You're not familiar with Secret Squirrel? All right.
What?
We have to educate you.
Go away.
Droopy Dog.
Sit in the corner.
He's in the corner.
He is. Droopy Dog and Deputy Dog and...
Just means I was outside more than all the rest of y'all.
You're 100%
Hong
right.
Kong Phooey.
Hong Kong Phooey. Underdog.
Number one secret guy.
Blimp. Of course you've been outside more than I have.
Anyway, let's not go there. Anyway.
Motherfucker.
So...
The thing that I really have a problem with is the fact that a lot of good and bad shows use the same art style.
Yeah.
Like I'll give you two quick examples. Gravity Falls, Steven Universe, Amazing World of Gumball, I'm Clarence. You can notice their heads are sort of like a diagonal heart. It's got that first round top with a little corner towards the neck, and then a round face. So
the way I look at that, it's almost like how South Park looks at Terrence and Phillip.
Yes,
that's how I see that.
But then, I still have the issue with I hate because he's a great person, Matt Groening's.
Right.
Simpsons, Futurama, Disenchanted.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's no question.
The art style is they're the same shows.
Yeah.
They got all the same art styles.
Different characters, similar art style.
There's no question.
Futurama and Simpsons did the crossover episode or two.
I know Simpsons and Family Guy did at one point.
Simpsons and Family Guy did. That was a different story altogether.
Because they're both owned by Fox.
Okay.
When Peter questioned why the Simpsons looked the way they did, they all have jaundice. And we made a full circle.
Full circle.
Yay!
Wow.
Anyway.
That was interesting.
Anyway, so back to the idea of the messages. I think nowadays cartoons use messages a lot more than cartoons did for us.
More?
I think more. Honestly, I do.
Support the military. Punch a Nazi. Yeah, I remember those ad campaigns.
Yes, like
Ivan
the
at
cartoons.
Ivan at
Hold up, stop. Actually want to hear Steven's
So
point.
Can anybody just quickly get my reference?
No.
yes, I do.
Okay.
So
Join the Navy. Anyway.
In our cartoons that we watch, they would dedicate whole episodes to a single message. Don't do drugs. Be careful of gangs or like something, or like don't bully or something like that.
What cartoons were you watching?
I mean, I remember
Captain
quite a
Planet.
few. Well, Captain Planet had one message, and it was save the planet.
Save
Yes.
the planet.
But I'm looking
Fuck that little
at
dude with the power to communicate with animals.
Can we
a
also
bitch.
quickly just take a quick second, and this can be a quick 15-second side note. They need to bring back Captain Planet,
now more than ever.
or they need a live action Captain Planet. There was talks about Ben Affleck playing Captain Planet years ago. I want to see that. Anyway, back to what you were saying. Dolph Lundgren would also make a good Captain Planet. Continue.
I don't think they
So-
should remake it.
No, they shouldn't remake the cartoon. I think they should have made a live action a number of years
Yeah,
ago.
but
they
Captain
never did.
Planet's I'm sorry, but Captain Planet's new theme would be to how to save what's left of the planet.
Yes.
Seriously.
Reduce,
So-
reuse, recycle. Anyway.
So looking at the show that Jerry mentioned, Steven Universe, they had entire seasons worth of a single message. They've had multiple story arcs within them, whereas opposed to our shows that we grew up on were extremely episodic, and the story arcs would only ever be contained within maybe 2-3 episodes
At
apiece,
the most.
and then another completely unrelated story in the next episode.
Like even bringing up like Beast Wars,
Yeah.
although it had an overarching story, most of the episodes were just
We're episodic
it was
in
just
nature.
like this is what happened and this is what happened next week.
Like Doug was extremely
But it
episodic.
But the way I looked at the Beast Wars, it was all a consistent conflict. Like
It was,
the part
yeah.
of it
Yeah,
was,
of course.
I mean, like a war.
But it was a
cartoon.
different conflict every week.
Yeah, like
Same
There was
thing with like
always something
right
new.
Transformers, Beast Wars, GI Joe. Different. Yes, it was always conflict, and yes, it was typically the same, antagonist. Every single week, but
they
it was
never,
a different
Situation.
conflict, right? Different situation,
they
different
rarely
conflict.
ever called back to past things. Whereas Steven Universe had an entire season, like almost watching a live action show, where you saw the progression of the characters in every single episode, and something new happened that meant something to the previous episode.
Like Steven
So
Universe.
the storytelling of cartoons now
the
has
storytelling has changed and possibly
has
improved,
immensely evolved and gotten so much better than we got.
Well, you can also take that into the context of books. Goosebumps versus
I mean, books are
Yeah.
books. That's literally storytelling. That's that's all they do.
Don't be
I don't
mocking
think-
my
what I'm
Goosebumps.
saying is like storytelling has improved over time.
Goosebumps is fucking fantastic.
It has, but that's also my point.
The
Cartoons when
Does-
we grew up were episodic.
But I feel like you could also get a lot of different positive messages over.
Oh, you
large
definitely
series.
can. I'm not saying you can't.
Is it better? So I guess my real question is, which is better? A lot of different messages that are to overall improve over over a particular season, or just one big message to take away
They-
from a particular season?
They're both good.
And
they both work. It's dependent
And
on
now-
how it is.
And nowadays, more topics are not as taboo to talk about, like same-sex relations and
Same-sex
race
relations, gender,
and,
race.
and
growing
the topic
up,
of drugs,
PTSD,
PTSD, mental health,
all that Steven Universe.
This, all of that is now much more open and not as taboo. Whereas back in the 90s and the 80s,
back in the Disney,
they couldn't talk about a lot of that stuff unless they condensed it to a single episode, or they were like they had to get the go ahead to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you always had just one episode relating to gang violence, and then the next episode we're doing drugs. And the episode after that is where do babies come from, or some shit like that. Now we have it all
I
wrapped
don't necessarily
up.
think that's always a good thing, though.
But that's also how media is today. Kids can see all of that on the internet. They don't actually even need cartoons to get those messages.
True.
So at this point, who cares what cartoons are saying? Because they can hear worse.
We also see that in a lot of the biggest TV shows. You mentioned Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That was another one that I would say 99 times out of 100, every episode dealt with a different topic. And it wasn't, and they weren't always it wasn't always shows that, had to have a lesson to them. Sometimes it was just, Will Smith going jam, dum dum did it, just Will Smith being Will Smith, Carlton being Carlton. It's just characters being characters, and there wasn't always a point to it. Is there an overall, big picture point? Absolutely there is. But there doesn't always have to be a life lesson in every single episode.
And then you have the heartbreaking Fresh Prince moments.
Okay, we're not going to talk about that. I'm not crying on the podcast.
Why don't you want me, man?
Oh, fuck you, dude.
I fucking hate you guys.
Don't worry, I want you.
Anyway.
Speaking about cartoons,
I
just remembered an old cartoon that I just loved. It was so great. It was one of those
Street Sharks.
We didn't even get into that.
Oh my god.
And fucking
The
Vin
90s?
Diesel's fucking commercial for Street Shark toys.
Yeah.
Street Shark toys were the shit.
Shark attack!
The round of pound.
Yeah.
That's what they used to call me. What?
Goddamn.
Y'all ever heard of a show called Megas XLR?
Yes.
No.
Chicks dig giant robots.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
It was a show about basically an alien conflict in the future between humans and an alien race.
Current time, not future.
It was started off in the future, and that's
What?
what
I
it
thought it was
did.
just space.
It was the future because they sent the robot back in time so that way the aliens couldn't take it.
I haven't seen it in a while, but yeah.
Well, basically, they send the robot back in time, send another girl back to retrieve it. Well, it turns out a fat dude found it.
Like a fat dude from Jersey.
It's like the theme
They
song
knew
is
me
literally
back then.
Living here in Jersey, fighting villains from afar.
Okay, so this dude was your spirit animal, bro.
You saying I'm fat?
No,
Yeah.
this guy.
Yeah, we saying it. What?
He was a metalhead, a gamer, loved
giving me the
loved
dirtiest,
junk
I'm
food,
gonna
loved
kill you
soda. Was
He's basically me.
Playboy, and
somehow managed to repair a giant robot.
Everything that Steven was saying, and he's just glaring at me.
I would like to wish Dave best of luck in his future endeavors. This
What
is
future?
going to be Dave's last episode with us. The next episode will be an in memoriam of Dave Oak because there's a good chance I'm about to kill him.
He thinks that first of all, he thinks I'll let that happen. Second of all, he thinks that if Dave dies, that I won't just sit here and murder Todd and be the only one sitting here for the podcast.
Victory.
Hey, I'm sitting right here. I'm not doing anything.
I'm sorry, Steve, but
that's how
if I
the
murder
Empire
Todd because he murdered Dave, I'm going to be taking every bit of this equipment home.
Vengeance.
I'm still going to keep the logos exactly the same, but I'm just going to add in memoriam.
That works.
Goddamn.
Anyway.
It's okay, Jerry. You and I will make this our own show.
Me and Todd go more like spit.
We're going to talk about tokusatsu and nothing but tokusatsu.
Fucking right. Yes.
Oh my god. Well, we're going to give it the go home cue today, so. Yes.
Till next time, guys.
E.T. phone home.
Oh my god. Can we quickly acknowledge before we close out, there actually was an ET cartoon at one point or another?
Was.
Everything
Yeah.
had a cartoon.
Everything had a cartoon.
Every movie from the 80s in some way, shape, or form. There was a Gremlins cartoon.
Even after the 80s.
Yeah.
Did you know that there was
RoboCop.
there was
a
multiple
RoboCop.
King Kong cartoons?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Did you know
And
that
Godzilla.
they tried turning King Kong to an action adventure cartoon?
And I loved that cartoon.
I
Kong
found
was
it
wonderful.
Found it on YouTube, the entire series.
I know.
Where they
Kong
the
is wonderful. I
mind
love
link
it.
The mind link thing.
Okay. Yeah. I
Yes,
like
I
that.
love
Anyway.
that
Neuron
one.
activation right there, Dave.
There will be a
And
part
a
2 to
Godzilla.
this conversation
Because
because
there's more.
there's more that we're going to discuss, not in a comparison form.
There is more.
We're just going to discuss cartoons, but that is another day and another dollar.
And
So
if Dave and Todd both survive.
oh no,
We will be
Dave might
back.
not make it. We'll find out soon. Anyway, until next time, this
The
has been
cartoons will return.
this has been Todd and
Dave.
Gerald.
Steven.
And Steven.
Our special guest.
And
The
Steve.
cartoons will return.
Anyway, until next time, please make sure that you get that out of your mouth.
Get that out of your mouth.
They will return.